big game, the Celtics-Knicks game, is also happening, and Celtics are already favorites, obviously, Lou, as we go into this thing as the defending champs. Are we looking, in your mind, at a potential situation here where we could have the beginning of maybe a little dynasty?
Yeah, this is going to be fun. You know, we've talked all off season about Jason Tatum being upset with the Olympics, Jaylen Brown feeling like he's being overlooked, and all of these things. All of these different storylines, they finally get to put it to the test. They finally get to go out there on the court and prove themselves as the defending champions. You know, I look forward to it. It's a completely different hat that they're wearing this year as far as last year. You know, they're going into this season as the favorites, right? Nobody's doubting them. Nobody's questioning them. There are some teams that are going to be contenders. That's going to come up in conversations, but they're clearly going into this season as the best team in the league. That's going to be the team that everybody is going to chase. So I'm just a little worried. At first, we were talking about them being upset. Now that the preseason rankings have came out and everybody has them as the favorites, I wonder if that messes with their psyche a little bit and they kind of take their foot off the gas. So I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah.
I do.
And the Celtics, again, they're obviously built to win now. They won last year, and they ran through the league last year. And again, like Lou said, they are going to have a target on their back. They are going to get everybody's best shot this season. And guys know their role. They defend. They do it on both ends. They're basically bringing the exact same team back. So to talk about a dynasty, I think we got to pump the brakes a little bit. They just got over that hump last year, and they dominated in a big way. Now, can they do it again? Can they do it again and again and again? And that's how we get that word dynasty. At the end of the day, they've won one championship with this core group. So I do think they're the best team. I think they're the most talented team. There's a reason they are the favorite to win it. But can they develop these young guys? There's guys like Jaden Springer. There's guys like Jordan Walsh that no one's even heard of or no one's talked about. Can they develop those guys into that seventh, eighth man to help the Hausers and the Pritchards and things like that when guys go down? How serious is Porzingis' injuries? There's always going to be questions about this team, but yeah, they're primed to do it again. And once they do it again, then I think we can start talking dynasty.
Chandler,
by the way, when you
those young guys you just mentioned,
that's what
exactly. That's my point.
When you for those guys,
you were.
But isn't that funny? With like, there's these young prospects that no one even talks about because they only go 6, 7 deep, and Hauser and Pritchard have only been their bench guys. It's crazy, but those are the guys that when injuries happen, 1 or 2 injuries, those are the guys that are going to need to play well for them, and no one knows who they are.
Do you know how great TNT is that when you said those 2 names, they're live today all night from Boston, and when you said those names, I was like, oh, this will be great. There's already the first segment's done for Barkley.
Start giving those kids some love.
This is going to happen. All right, it is the opening night, and that means the Joe Mazzulla quote train can officially get off the tracks, and he's kicking things off in a beautiful way. Right off the bat, asked about the pressure he might feel to, maximize this opportunity. Here's Joe Mazzulla.
Zero, no pressure. We're all going to be dead soon, and it really doesn't matter anymore, so there's zero pressure. You're either going to win or you're not, and when you win, you try to forget about it a week later, and when you lose, you try to forget about it a week later. And so it's not pressure, it's an opportunity.
Yeah. He's my favorite now. We are all going to be dead soon. I say it all the time. Didn't hear anybody else saying it, though. What do we think? What do you mean? We are going to be dead soon. What's wrong with that?
But there's pressure. Now, whether you acknowledge it or not, it's there, right? It's a big difference in doing the hunting like they were doing last year and being hunted like they're going to be this year. That's a different responsibility than they've had from last season to this season. Now you're the measuring stick, right? You're the team that everybody wants to beat. Before that, it was the Denver Nuggets. So from the contenders to the pretenders, everybody's going to come to Boston, and they're going to want to know where are they on the depth chart of the good basketball teams in the league, and you're that team that they're going to want to beat. So, and that's going to be a challenge for you night in and night out. So whether you acknowledge the pressure or not, it's definitely there. So I'm calling Cap.
Yeah.
But as a coach, he said what he was supposed to say.
Listen, I like the message that he's sending to the team. Listen, we know there's a target on our back. We know we're trying to do it again, but like Lou said, there is pressure. There's pressure on a franchise like the Celtics every single year, let alone when you're going into the season as the best team and as the favorite. So 1,000% there's pressure. There's pressure on the Chiefs this year. Can they do it again? There's pressure on the Dodgers and the Yankees every single year. There's pressure on the Boston Celtics, especially when you just came off a dominating year. You're the champs. You're on top of the world. there's pressure to do it again. And that's how the players are going to be judged this year. Can they respond? Can they be poised? Can they be mature? There's still a lot of questions out there about this team, but there's definitely pressure when you're the best team going into the season.
He just has a way with word. Like, I went from thinking, man, this dude's nuts, to he's growing on me, and I like the way he puts it. But
He's a quirky dude.
He's a very quirky dude. End of
days.
days.
There's no pressure. Go on a 5-game losing streak and see what happens.
Well,
you know what? Pressure.
I'm glad you mentioning the pressure, because like Jason Tatum is part of who got a lot of the pressure, and now he's got that ring. They've had their parade, and I'm wondering, Lou, does that pressure get worse, better, same? Or do you think the critics are going to be out as bad as they were for him last season?
Oh, the critics are going to be out. It's gonna be a field day. The storylines are already there. They've already written themselves. The critics are gonna be there. Luckily for them, they've experienced this throughout the year last year. So now at this point, when you're the champion, it turns into you trying to prove somebody wrong to they're gonna have to learn a way to just X that out, let everybody talk, let everybody do what they're gonna do. But other than that, just go out and play basketball, man. Like I said, I look forward to seeing this Boston Celtics team, how they respond to the criticism. Lucky for them, it feels like they have 2 superstar guys and their personalities who's responded well to these things throughout the course of their careers. And now that they're champions, I think they wear that hat proudly and they go out and prove everybody wrong.
Yeah, and they're the best 2 players on the team. Of course, there's pressure on those 2 for sure. And everything they both went through, who's the best player, who got snubbed from the Olympic team, who didn't play for the Olympic team. They're both making a shit ton of money. They're both the franchise pieces of this team. They both have a lot of pressure going forward. They're the best players on the best team. Can they do it again? And we'll see.
Yeah, criticism never dies. On the other side of this thing, we got the New York Knicks. We mentioned the fact that Julius Randle finds himself in a friendlier, probably, place. Cat finds himself now in New York City. And we all know the criticisms of Karl Anthony Towns over the course of the years. Chandler, it's hard here sometimes. They're tough. Do you think he's got the mental fortitude for what this thing's going to be?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know him well enough to sit here and say he doesn't. I know if he plays well there, look no further than last year, how Jalen Brunson gets treated, how Jalen Brunson is looked at on this Knick. They're talking about Jalen Brunson being the greatest Knick of all time after just such a short stint of what he'd done, just because he's brought that excitement back. He is a humble star. He is low maintenance. That is what Cat needs to go there. He needs to bring his hard hat, play. Obviously, staying healthy is a huge key here. But yeah, there's expectations here now, though. It's the New York media, it's the New York Knicks, and now you have a roster that is ready to contend for a championship right now, and you're a huge addition to that. So you have to have thick skin. Like we just talked about Julius Randle, he has less pressure now in Minnesota. It's the opposite for Karl Anthony Towns. He's now going to this mega market where they're going to nitpick. They're going to try and tear him down and pull him apart when they lose and when he plays bad. And they're going to build him up to the greatest thing since sliced bread when he plays good. So I hope he can figure it out. I hope they're winning. I love the NBA when the Knicks are good and the Knicks fans are rowdy. I love when MSG is rocking. So I think the NBA is in a better place when they have a product that they have this year. And a lot of that's going to fall on Towns. So I hope he can overcome it. But yeah, it's a whole nother monster he's dealing with, going from Minnesota market to New York market.
Why
are you laughing?
I'm laughing because you gotta love New York Knicks fans, right? When the trade first happened, one of the first things I seen on Instagram and X was the New York Knicks fans telling Cat, "All right, don't come here being a bitch." All right.
I saw that. It made me laugh.
That was one of the first things that I saw, and it made me laugh out loud because that's the personality of this city. They respect his talent, but you have to have thick skin to play New York City brand basketball. And I think Cat, he's going to do a great job. I think he's going to become a fan favorite. I think he's going to rally these crowds. And you can kind of compare it to like wrestling, right? It feels like Cat is going to have to turn heel to be loved in New York City. He's going to have to go heel. He's going to have to go dark. He's going to have to be meaner. He's going to have to talk more trash. And I think it's going to work for him in the long run. So, man, what an exciting season. There's going to be a lot going on.
I'm stoked. To say I'm stoked is really just an understatement. There were a lot of